And joining me on the line to talk about his new song, which he's done with another Flow favourite, we've got Andy Pencoe. G'day, Andy. How are you today?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It is great to have you here. You've done a song with a lady that we're familiar with here on Flow, Della Harris. So tell us, how did the two of you get together? Was it just something you've always wanted to do, or just you needed someone specifically for this song and hers was the magical voice you needed?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's a work in progress. It was a work in progress. You know, it's about 3 years in the making, 3.5 years. But I actually approached Della, I reckon it would have been 3 years ago, and the song, she said yes straight away. So I was pretty happy with her saying yes. You know, I've known her for a while, and she's just a great mate and a really good person. So I'm so happy to have her on board. You know, and I love what she brought to the song because her voice is just so unique and so different, and it just really complemented this song for sure.
Oh, it certainly did. And your voices together were great as well. I love the harmonies together. Just quickly, I'm just looking at the video while I'm chatting here to you that you've done for it. So, and we'll ask about. I want to know some details about that. But I just want to know, what have you got hanging from your mirror? Because there's all these things hanging there. What's hanging from your mirror?
Yeah, well, that's not actually my car. That's someone else's car, not mine. I think they had some kind of like something hanging from there. I don't even know what it was, to be honest. But yeah,
there's some
good pickup though.
Yeah, some weird sort of things. I'm thinking, what on earth?
A good mate of mine who I've worked with a couple of times, Jay Seeney, he's done a few videos for me, and he done this one with Della, for Della and myself. And it was funny. It was the weekend that we had all this rain in Sydney. Yeah. And actually, I was just chatting with you offline about rain, and we had some crazy weather that weekend. It was just torrential rain and tough of, like the northern parts of Sydney ended up going underwater in some of the western parts. So we navigated around that, which was tough, but it was fun as well.
Oh, right. And so tell us a bit more about the filming then. And it perfectly matches the way it's all put together, the way you've done it, the solo driving, the solo scenes. It absolutely matches the song, which is called How Many Times, perfectly.
Yeah, well, I had in mind with what I wanted with the video, and I said to Jay, this is kind of what I was thinking of, because the song's actually about, it's about a relationship that's gone sour, and one half of the relationship has started to move on and let go, and the other half is kind of like clinging on. So I wanted to have kind of like a sliding doors moment in the music video, and that's kind of what we ended up with. So yeah, I was really happy with the production. I love working with Jay. He's just an absolute legend. He's had a few Golden Guitar nominations and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, he's a good guy and a great filmmaker.
It is a great clip, and I urge everyone to check it out. We can see it on YouTube, and that, as I said, I'm looking at it right now, and it just the whole song, the way it's all put together. And when you said about that, one person wants things to keep going, the other person's moved on. Everything about the song and just lyrically, it just nails it absolutely for me, and I just got the whole feel of the song. It took me back to years ago, and I know anyone listening, when they hear it, they're going to be able to relate to it in a second. So what you've done with it and structured it is brilliant.
Oh, thanks so much. I think writing songs is always challenging, especially being an artist, because you don't know if anyone's going to be able to relate to them, because they come from quite a personal part of your being. So it's always a challenge. But I think for me, looking back on a past relationship, that was something that I thought about when writing this song. And I was actually lucky enough to have a few other people on the song. There's a handful of people, actually. David Carter from Carter & Carter, Khaleesi Butler, another Aussie country artist, and also who lives down in Melbourne. Her name's Kath Stewart, and she's just absolutely brilliant. And we all kind of knocked heads together, and I had the central idea, and those guys really helped me through it. So it was a great process. It was a lot of fun.
I sort of get the sense that with the four of you writing the song together, that it came down to what to keep in, because you probably had a lot that you wanted to do. You could have had a 10-minute song, but you had to sort of nail it down. So how hard was it culling just to get to the absolute lines that you needed?
Yeah, that's the challenge, I think with any songwriter or writing, especially for myself, I write a lot of music and a lot of songs, and actually what they say is true. Less is more most of the time. So I think having the four of us, and we all worked really well together. We all kind of ended up feeding off each other, and we all had some great ideas with the song. And I think the end product kind of shows what we were thinking, for sure.
Which is your preference, writing on your own or writing with others?
I've had some great experiences writing with others, to be honest with you. I mean, I've written with some fantastic Australian artists. Limbo Tell, she's just an absolute legend of the Australian country music industry. She's won like 9 golden guitars or something, and I've done some stuff with her, and obviously David Carter, and I actually just had a writing session with Alan Caswell last week, which was fantastic. But, yeah, 2 songs written with him. So I think it's really interesting writing with someone else because, you know, there's only so much you can do yourself that can only come out of one person's brain. So when you've got 2 or 3 other people, you know, it definitely opens up doors.
When you're talking about those names, David Carter, Alan Caswell, Limbo Tell, they're kind of the, I think it's fair to say at the moment, the elder statesmen and women of the country music scene in this country. So being around them, I get the sense you'd also want to be a bit of a sponge because you want to absorb everything you can. So what are the little things that you've learned from them that you might not normally sort of pick up from when you're around people? Oh,
for sure. I think, you know, I'm just so grateful and so lucky that I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of them, you know. Like, I think from me being so green to the country music industry, everything I see them do, I pick up on, you know, especially when it comes to songwriting. And I thought I could write a song until I sat down with Lynn. You know, she's just an amazing songwriter. And she kind of showed me how to kind of dissect a song and how to pull out what you need and not overdo it. I think that's the biggest thing that I learned from Lynn. But I think mostly, I worked with Shane Nicholson on my last EP, which was amazing as well. You know, he's just an absolute legend and an idol. Like, I've been listening to his music for a long time. Obviously, the stuff that he used to do with Casey Chambers was amazing. So I learned a lot from him as well, for sure.
I remember having a chat with Shane one time, and I said to him, "What's one of the golden rules with the songwriting and what you're doing, and when you're producing, you know, other artists?" And he said to me, "Getting out of the way of the song."
Yeah, makes sense.
And so, is that what you find sometimes you need to get out of the way of it and let it just unfold and that in front of you?
Oh, for sure. And I think you know, someone like Shane Nicholson, saying that, it makes a lot of sense, especially for what he produces and what he does. Because you can get caught up in it all. You know, you can definitely get caught up in the process and that kind of stuff. And sometimes you've got to look at it from an outside person. And Shane actually said to me once, you know, think when you're recording or you're writing something, just think it's like you by yourself in a room, sitting on a chair, a bar stool, looking at yourself in a mirror, and you're kind of like outside your body. And I kind of look at it like that now, I guess.
Does lines or lyrics come to you as to set you off in your songwriting, or is it a melody that comes to you? And that how does your your songwriting process work? Yeah,
I think I like to write visually. To be honest, like I think outside the square a little bit, and I think of like the end product. You know, what I'm going to do visually. That's one technique that I use to write songs. But I also use 1 or 2 lines. You know, something will pop up in my head. You know, like, I don't know, Sunny Days or something like that. And then I'll go home and I'll craft something around that.
Is it about sitting down with your guitar, or do you prefer piano, or what's the musical side of it for you?
Getting down with the guitar, you know, like I take a lot of time now that I'm obviously a professional musician. You know, it's part of my job to sit down and write music. So for me, it's really important to do that. And I take time out every week to do so. Even if it's not a good song, you know, I'll still sit down and write some stuff. A wise person once told me, don't ever throw anything away because you never know when you're going to need it.
I saw an interview once with Paul McCartney, and he had his phone, and he couldn't find his phone, and they said, "Why are you so worried about your phone?" So, Paul, you know, you don't need to worry about it. He says, "No," he said, "I've got over 1,000 music ideas on there. I need my phone." And I'm thinking, here's Paul McCartney using an iPhone to give you for ideas, and we all seem to be doing that.
Yeah, true. You'd be surprised if you had a look at a few musicians' iPhones, what they've got recorded on there, that's for sure. But I think when inspiration strikes, you just don't know. You've got to be ready for it, that's for sure.
Well, Andy, what's coming up with you for 2021? Are you getting out there touring and playing gigs? And how's it going to be looking for you despite all the COVID things happening? How's the rest of this year looking for you? Yeah,
it's been a challenge. You know, the last year and a half has been a really challenging kind of path for a lot of musicians, and I think I've really learnt how to redesign my career. You know, I've got a lot happening. I'm actually going on tour in September with a good mate of mine, Dan Higgins. We're hitting the road from Toowoomba all the way down to Victoria. We're doing about 20 shows down there, which is really exciting. So that's something to look forward to. And we've got Della jumping on in a couple of shows, and Lucy Tiger here in Sydney, she's going to do a few in Burns. So I've got a few people involved in that, which is keeping us busy. And I do a lot of regular work as well. So, I head out west, out to kind of Orange and the west of New South Wales, and I've got some things happening in Tamworth and everything like that. So that's definitely keeping me busy and keeping me occupied for sure.
Obviously, when you've got Della in your show, you're going to be doing this song how many times? But what other song? Surely you're going to be doing a couple of other tracks with her, surely.
Yeah, for sure. Same with Dan as well. We love to have a bit of a jam. It's actually more about, us all getting together, to be honest with you. And, I'm doing Dan Higgins' album launch in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to get up on stage and sing a couple of his songs as well with him, which will be great. So we definitely share the stage as much as we can, for sure.
Who was your favourite country artist growing up?
Oh, mate, you'd be surprised, to be honest. My mum had a really interesting record collection, and most of the time Dolly Parton was on, so that kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
And she's an absolute legend. She's written like over 3,000 songs. I think she's probably one of the best songwriters that has ever kind of graced the earth, to be honest. And I listen to a lot of different Americana stuff as well. A lot of Bob Dylan, and that definitely kind of stuck with me as well, for sure. And Casey Chambers, Mum played her so much when I was a kid. I think I remember before she even made it big, my mum was like a huge fan of Casey, so we had a lot of her music playing around the house too.
And when I was growing up, Dad loved Willie Nelson, so whenever I heard Willie Nelson, it either meant that I was going to my room so I could go and listen to Deep Purple or something else, or Led Zeppelin. But now when I hear Willie Nelson, it just takes me back, and I just think of my dad and all that, who's passed away now. And just, so anytime I hear Willie Nelson, it just reminds me of Dad and just all those things. It's amazing. And you grow up and how it sticks with you, and even when you don't think
true. It's amazing the power of music, isn't it? It can just trigger a memory, or it can take you back to somewhere in an instant, which is an really exciting thing as a musician, to be able to do that for people, for sure.
Well, your current song here that we're going to hear, it certainly does that. When I heard it, it took me back to a moment, and I know everyone else listening, they'll be able to relate to it so simply as soon as they hear it and they get the feel of it. I know that for sure. Well, Andy, good luck with everything for the rest of this year. Hope it all goes well. Hopefully we'll get to see you our way and get to chat again about your music when you're releasing it. But we've got your song here ready with Della. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Flow, and if you could please introduce it for us.
Thanks so much for having me. This is Andy Penko, and this is my new single, How Many Times, with the wonderful Della Harris.
I drove past your house last night to see if you were home. I know that it wasn't right, but I needed to know. How did we fall apart, and where did we lose our way? I don't know how to go when all I wanna do is stay. How many times before I find my way, before I can let go of what we had yesterday? How many tears do we both have to cry before I find the strength to say goodbye? How many times?
I packed up our memories and closed the door on you. I guess we weren't meant to be. Why can't you see this too? I didn't go out last night 'cause I need to be alone. I saw your car pass by when you thought I wasn't home.
before we find our way, before we can let go of what we had yesterday. How many tears do we both have to cry before we find the strength to say goodbye? Before I find the strength to say goodbye.
Before you find the strength to say goodbye.
How many times